أهلا وسهلا. أهلا وسهلا. And we can see you أيضا. فعندك حوالي ربع ساعة إلى 20 دقيقة عشان تعطينا وجهة نظرك حول التطورات في مصر وإلى أين تتجه الأوضاع في مصر.
شكرا. أنا بشكر مركز دراسات الإسلام والوطنية على الدعوة الكريمة.
Unfortunately, I could not stand in person as a speaker nor as a listener to the opinions of a huge number of elite and experts in freedom and democracy. For personal reasons, I would like to pay tribute to Dr. Maha Azzam. Actually, 96 years ago, the Egyptian people have brought independence and constitution together in one single voice. It was the slogan of our first revolution in modern history, the 1919 revolution at its very early time. The Egyptian people have realized the value of constitution, which expresses rights and freedoms, and placed it on the same level as independence. 86 years later, we have had a battle for Egypt's second independence from tyranny. I have competed against the sole president and the only heir in the first presidential elections in Egyptian history. However, the man wouldn't only falsify elections, but decided to send his competitor to jail or to arrest him. The competitor who came second, in order to prove that all paths to reform are locked. And there is no other way but the revolution, for which we called from an alternative parliament in a famous speech entitled Leave on the 21st of January 2011. 92 years later, the people took to the streets in January 25, 2011, raising the slogan of "The people want." People want life, freedom, social justice, and human dignity. 4 years and 4 months later, after the second revolution, what did we have left from what the people wanted? Freedom, justice, or dignity? Freedom. Freedom indicators in Egypt have decreased both on the political and economic levels. Politically, politics have died. We are back to the era of the one man. He is the party, he is the people, he is the nation, he is the single voice and its echo. He is the opponent, the judge, and the battle. No voice shall be above the voice of the battle. The man came on March 7, 2013, raising the banner of the people and people's demands. He said he was against tyranny in the name of religion, but he came up with a tyranny that knows no religion. He said he was against exclusions, but he exercised the worst exclusions on everybody. He said he was with the freedom of the media and the right of expression, but he turned Egypt into a big prison. He said he will face a potential terrorism, and here he was injecting the country with the terrorism he claims to be eradicating. He said he had no greed, but here he is being greedy of everything. Economically, just like politics got colored, the same with Egypt's economy that turned into khaki color. The army became the first and perhaps the only businessman in the country, monopolizing public works and entrepreneurship, sneaking into all productive, consumption and profitable sectors, and taking advantage of the absence of any competitive opportunities amidst government privileges, labor with no wages, and zero cost for taxes and corruption. This is freedom with its two facets, politics and economics. And after the revolution that took place to destitute and change one of the worst tyrants, however, It failed to change the environment that produced this tyrant and produced one which is even worse.
دعونا نتحدث عن
Let's
العدالة
talk about
العدالة
justice.
القضائية في مصر.
The legal justice in Egypt
العدالة أبشع من الظلم.
became worse than injustice itself. Whether the legal injustice that started to confuse between the law and raging politics, acting on double standards, and turning justice to an extinguisher amid collective executions, life sentences, severe imprisonment of 1,000 years, and unlimited remand.
ولا حدود. وأصبح لدينا
We were left with thousands of detainees, with no rulings and no sentences.
أما العدالة الاجتماعية العدالة المساواتية
As for equal social justice
كرامة الإنسان فيها
and human
فلم
dignity,
يعد هناك وجه من وجوه الظلم
no single aspect of social injustice was left unrealized in the latest period in Egypt.
عوائد التنمية بين
From the imbalance in the distribution of development revenues among sectors, governorates, individuals, with the police and the army monopolizing everything in this country.
خلال توزيع غير عائد على الوظائف العامة.
The imbalance in the distribution of public functions. And I think we have a very dangerous incident of the Minister of Justice. The declarations of the discharged minister represented a clear sign of the racial discrimination exercised by the coup d'etat and which is rejected by the international community and the revolutionary youth, which branded social justice, which fell in its turn under the military coup d'etat. There is an imbalance in the implementation of the logic of the constitution. Add to this the imbalance in the implementation of the maximum salary wage and excluding sectors which makes the Egyptian people wonder. He wanted justice, freedom, and dignity, but he lost all aspects of freedom, all aspects of justice, and all aspects of dignity. Nothing was left from that slogan except the people want. The people still want. After it learned that it should want and will always want until it gets back its freedom, dignity, and right for justice. Talking about the conflict of legitimacy, let's say that there is a legitimacy for Assisi and its deep state. The former Minister of Defense has found support in 3 arguments from which he derived a legitimacy that I think it's false among sections of the Egyptian people and other regional and international parties. His first argument in his legitimacy was that he was the strong man capable to regain the country's dignity and face a potential terrorism. He has lost this argument clearly when it appeared to all that he wasn't that strong man, and the potential terrorism he came to fight reached us and increased in his presence. He has also injected the society with additional reasons for terrorism and bloodshed. His second argument was that he was able to build regional alliances that help rescue the Egyptian economy in the framework of a serious partnership. However, the leaked information proved that he failed to do so. The Egyptian citizen didn't feel the impact of such a partnership that revealed to be restricted to the army's own calculations to support the political struggle of one party. His third argument is that he was able to rebuild national unity and work with the deeper layers of the state. But it was clear that he didn't even care about national unity and didn't do a single step forward
يوم انتخابه.
since he was elected and until now.
أما التعامل مع الدولة العميقة.
As for working with the deeper layers of the state,
يعني بعض منها هو نفسه.
where he belonged,
حتى هذه اللحظة.
this claim
هذه النزاعم
proved to be faulty.
مواجهة هذه الدولة. بعد
After that same deep state has played an important role in directing painful blows to him personally through leakages that were published in his regard. And you know, the man has even assured yesterday in a meeting with one of the party's leaders, he said that he had no idea about the voice records that were broadcasted against that party leader, which proves that the deep country is acting independently, and he hasn't even succeeded in taming this deep country. When the pillars of the legitimacy of Sisi start to shake that quickly, we should start looking for another legitimacy, the legitimacy of the revolution facing the deep country. By this legitimacy, I mean the legitimacy of the values fostered by the revolution. The values we dreamt of having it in the shape and image of the state. There would be no legitimacy other than to uphold the legitimacy and values of the January Revolution. Therefore, I do not consider the battle as a conflict between legitimacy of the brothers and that of the army, nor between the legitimacy of General Sisi and Dr. Morsi, Muhammad Morsi. The real conflict is between the revolution and the old state, between the revolution and the counter-revolution. Therefore, I declare and sure that it is not an ideological struggle between Islamists and liberals. I reiterate, it is not an ideological struggle between Islamists and liberals, for there are among the political Islamic movement who are against the revolution and with the counter-revolution, anti-revolution. Yes, there are mistakes, and we should admit they were wrong when they refused the results, especially the liberal movements. They were mistaken in November and December 2013 when they refused the attempts of the political Islam movement to rebuild this partnership. Liberal parties even wanted to go with choices far from being liberal and democratic. We should admit we were wrong. We should admit that in addition to the old regime conspiracy and the regional alliances who were opposed to the revolution from day one, there were mistakes and sins from all partners of the revolution. We should start a frank talk before the reconciliation. A frank talk, then a reconciliation between the revolution and the revolution. Then we could talk later on about a reconciliation between the revolution and the state. Then we could talk at the end about a final compromise based on the rules of transitional justice, the respect of every blood shed by the martyrs, and the right of every human being or movement not to be excluded from public life or illegally excluded from his country. In that regard, I would like to tell you at the end that I have changed from a deported by choice to a deported by force after the Egyptian embassy in Lebanon and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Egyptian ministry, to refuse to renew my passport in opposition to all customs and tradition. When I was opposed to Sadat and I was only a college student and president of the Students' Union, Sadat arrested me but did not deprive me from my right to have the document that entitles me to hold the name of my country. I have competed with Mubarak and he arrested me several times. And he even arrested me for 5 years, but he did not undermine my right to have this document, of which I'm currently deprived by the regime. Finally, I declare that we have no other choice but to return to the democratic path, and that the long tyranny will soon end. It will end very soon.
أن كل الشعوب الحرة
All free people
مطالبة أن تفهم
are required to understand that what's going on in Egypt is not a threat against the rights of one movement or one group, but our children from all movements are in prison, and we are all paying the price of the shameful regional and international silence of the absence of the state of law
سيادة دولة القهر
and the reign of the state of oppression and tyranny. Freedom will definitely win it over,
دائما بحاجة
but we always need the efforts of all the free people all over the world.
بشكركم جدا.
I would like to thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ayman Nour. We have about 10 minutes for Q&A. If you have any questions for Dr. Ayman Nour or for Dr. Azzam, please, yes. Please introduce yourself and keep it short. Where's the mic? We have a mic? No, because they need to hear you too, so.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. Almost there.
There you go. Okay.
My name is Ali Ramadan Abu Zakuk, an elected member of the Libyan parliament in Tobruk, who refused to join it because of its unconstitutionality. I like to take this opportunity to ask everyone to stand a moment of silence for the murderers of the Egyptian people and for those who were arrested illegally there, including our dear friend Abu Al-Ila Madi, the head of Al-Wasat Party. Please, all of you, stand up for a second, just remember them.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, quick.
For Dr. Azzam, really I enjoyed hearing you and hearing your presentation. My question is that when I hear the name Egyptian Revolutionary Council, I would like to know, does this include members of the Islamic trend in Egypt?
الصوت غير واضح دكتور.
Why don't you come here, please?
The Egyptian Revolutionary Council is a broad platform that includes different groups and represents Islamists and non-Islamists. We encompass liberals, leftists, Islamists of different Islamist parties and individuals. So it is a broad platform that is committed to a civil state and society in Egypt and the removal of the military from politics and the establishment of a democratic state. Thank you.
Any other questions? A lot of questions from our Libyan friends.
Abdul Tabuni, Libyan American Council, Public Affairs. I would like to ask both Ayman Nour and Dr. Maha, what's the reflection, what's going on in Egypt on Libya? Because what seems that after the coup 2013, immediately some happened in Libya, which is like down the hill. So do you see any connection between what happened in Egypt and Libya?
دكتور أيمن نور، سمعت السؤال؟
الصوت غير واضح.
السؤال هو كيف ترى التأثير المتبادل بين مصر وليبيا، أو ما يحدث في مصر وما يحدث في ليبيا بعد الانقلاب في مصر؟ تفضل.
نجيب الآن على طول؟
نعم تفضل.
اوكي. يعني أنا بعتقد
I
أو
think
أؤمن أن
and I believe
التعبير الصحيح عن
that the right expression of Arab revolutions
هو ثورات الربيع العربي.
is not in the Arab Spring revolutions. I believe in the review of this terminology in order to have it as a revolution of the change, Arab change. I have my own reasons. We are only one revolution in the chronology, the similarity in events, and the effects
المخالف للاتجاه الرئيسي وفي الاتجاه
that went
المعاكس
against the trend,
سواء كانت في مصر
whether it was in Egypt, Tunisia, or even Libya and Yemen.
من هنا
From here,
أنا بعتقد إن ليبيا من أكثر
I think that Libya is one of the countries
تأثرت
that was mostly affected and impacted positively by the Egyptian revolution when the
تأثرت سلبيا
Egyptian revolution was uprising. And it was badly affected when the revolution in Egypt went back.
حالة الحقارة التي جرت في مصر
I think the destabilization in Egypt moved to Libya as if it is an echo of what's going on with the military regime.
Thank you very much. We have two more questions here. We'll take them together, please.
My name is Safi Hamid, and these are for the two speakers. Just 10 seconds ago, I received a text that Dr. Gamal Hishmat announced in one of the newspaper or one of the appearances that the Muslim Brotherhood is not insisting on having Dr. Morsi back. This is, of course, is coming as a main headlines. Is that a step forward in your opinion, Dr. Ayman or Dr. Azam?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Anwar Hadam from Algeria, elected member of parliament in 91. I have a question for both of you.
So we have all the former elected members.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So my question is regarding the conflict resolution. Is there any effort to try to look for a third party who can really understand the situation, who is somehow free from the Peace of Westphalia diplomacy and has a value-based diplomacy in order to resolve this issue in Egypt? Are there any effort? Are you looking for a third party or
Intermediaries?
Yeah, intermediaries, etc.
I am unaware of any such statement regarding Dr. Morsi, but what I will say is that Dr. Morsi remains the legitimate, democratically elected president of Egypt, and I see no reason why that should change. The people of Egypt elected him. They are opposed to the military dictatorship, and they will pursue their revolution in the way that they see fit. And they have chosen their leader, and what we want to give them is the opportunity to continue to choose their leaders out of free choice and through free and fair elections in the future. As to the question regarding an intermediary, again, I believe that the struggle in Egypt is one that relates to the Egyptian people. It's an internal one that will take time, not necessarily time to bring down the regime. The regime may fall sooner or later, but I think the struggle to achieve the goals of the revolution will take time. To build a state that is based on the rule of law, that is a democratic state, that works on the development of the nation in terms of its economy and its social fabric, is going to be a long struggle after decades of dictatorship that have destroyed the country and the society. As far as intermediaries go, I believe that certain regional powers can play an important role in ensuring that this regime is exposed, in stepping back. We're not asking anyone to interfere in the internal affairs of our country, either from the region or outside the region. As I've said before, this is a struggle for the Egyptian people to fight on their own. But we do ask of the international community and regional powers to step back, to stop embracing and supporting this military dictator politically and financially. Thank you.
دكتور أيمن، عندك ما تضيف في كلمة ختامية أو جواب على الأسئلة؟
أنا الحقيقة لم أستمع إلى
Actually, I couldn't hear the questions very clearly,
الأسئلة
but I understood
من حديث الدكتورة
from what Dr. Maha said.
الحقيقة لو كان
Actually,
يعني لي أن أثني
if I want to reiterate, I would approve and reiterate what Dr. Maha said, because she heard questions better than I did.
وأنا بختتم كلمتي.
I would like to end my speech by saying that I believe the Egyptian crisis is a local one, but I also believe what Sadat said during a civil war in Lebanon. Sadat said, raise your hand off Lebanon. We tell international community, raise your hand off Egypt. We do not need you to help the revolution, but we are enough with what we received from blows to the revolution and to the future of the revolution in the few years.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Ayman.
شكرا.